Hi, everyone. Welcome to the TimingResearch.com Analyze Your Trade, episode number 177 for November 2nd, 2021. My name is David Kosmeter. I'm the creator of TimingResearch.com, and today we will be discussing your trade ideas, and we are recording this at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Today, I have arranged for John Nyaradi to join us again, and you should be seeing his screen right now and his charts. And the option professor is back to moderate. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to him.
Okay. All right, everybody. We're having a lot of action this week and last week with the earnings coming out. And obviously people are just plowing into the stock market. And we've seen some volatility like in the stock of Avis and Budget today, which is just really unprecedented. So we're going to go over the stocks that you guys have given us, plus some other ideas as well. John, a quick background on yourself and what's going on at the company.
Thanks, Prof. Always nice to talk to you, David, as well. Thanks, everybody, for joining us today. Yeah, we're having a good time. It's been, as you just mentioned, an exciting time in the markets, and our focus is on options. We have two major strategies. We sell options via, iron condors and credit spreads, and then we have an option buying program, and we really focus on pretty much the Qs with that. They seem to give you the best way to go. And although you could always try to catch Tesla, like you just talked about, one of those car companies, but the Qs have been good for us, and we'll do those directionally via debit spreads. And so it's a great, exciting time, and I think we're at a real pivotal moment here. If you just take a step back on the macro level, that what you just described, earnings have been big, and then of course today and tomorrow the Fed meeting and the beginning of the taper project is going to be real interesting. I think the Fed's done a good job prepping everybody. But it'll be in the nuances. Like, is it going to be faster, slower? What's happening to inflation? When are they going to tighten? That'll make tell the story what happens next.
Yeah, I think people are going to realize that the interest rates are so ridiculously low. Even if they tighten it a little bit, it's not going to stop this kind of consumer spending and inflation and all the rest of it. So really, I think people are going to realize that tapering from $9 zillion down to $8 zillion is really not that much of an event, maybe.
Right. And then when do they start raising interest rates, and at what pace? I mean, that'll be really the
well, I think they're going to say they're interested in raising interest rates when they're interested in the national debt going up another 10 trillion because of interest payments. You know what I mean? They're going to be about as interested in raising interest rates as you would want to have your refi at a higher rate than what you had.
Yeah, can you imagine? I mean, you keep reading these stories, like it'll be like the whole federal revenue, just go to interest, just on the debt. There won't be anything left for anything else.
Just to give an example, the 2-year note was at 0.2%. So every time you loan $100,000 out, after a year, you get $200. So they get $100,000 and you get $200 for giving it to them. Now it's at $500. It's still at a joke level.
Oh yeah.
Because again, I'd rather get 500. I'd rather get $100,000 and only owe you $500 a year. You know what I mean? At any rate, let's get into some of this stuff, and we'll start out with the S&P, because you got it right up there. What's the broad base look like? And one quick question: that red line that says 4775. Is that some type of a Fibonacci extension?
Oh, that's a Bollinger Band. So I have upper, lower Bollinger Bands there.
Okay, I got you.
The pink one down at the bottom.
Okay.
And then of course, the candles are the price itself. And then we've got the 3 moving averages: 9, 21, and 50. Those are the ones that kind of everybody looks at. And so I do that. And then the little blue dots, so that's the ATR reversal, stop reversal, the pink being a bearish environment, and then over you can see how it turned to green here just recently.
Right.
So this is a very bullish configuration. You've got, they say that those moving averages are stacked like that, that's a strong indication on uptrend. And then of course you got the green bar, the candles above that. So everything about this is bullish. And then down below, the 2 momentums are the DMI oscillator, and of course everybody knows the MACD. But my view, Prof, is we've discussed this, and I think you agree, you don't have to make this too complicated. If you can't explain what you're looking at in 5 minutes to a high schooler, it's too complicated, and you get that analysis paralysis going on.
Yeah.
And that just then eventually cripples you, and I don't mind looking at everything that everybody else is looking at, because then you can just where the elephants are going.
Yeah. And again, that strategy and this kind of a market of taking in the credit put spreads. I mean, realistically, you've had a very consistently uptrending market.
Yeah.
And so that strategy in this current environment has been, has been very reasonable. Huh?
Yeah, it's been great. And I think that, you can even day trade those if people are interested in that. You can, particularly the SPX and the RUT, they have those 3 expirations a week and they're cash settled. So there's a real opportunity, and they're high price. So there's a real opportunity to day trade those things in the morning, come in the morning and then get out and just let it expire in the evening, So it's about velocity of money, I think, because, like you wrote the book, but, the average book will tell you if you do an iron condor or a credit spread, you go 45 days out, then you manage it down to 50% and then take your profits. You can
Yeah, because
really,
you're trying to hit the teeth of the time decay Black and Scholes model.
Yeah, exactly. And then you can, if you shorten that up a little bit into weeklies or even a daily like that, you can really accelerate the velocity of your cash. And then for a little guy like us, the condors are terrific, because you get you get a 2-for-1 there. You get double.
Yeah, I mean, if you can box it in,
Yeah, if you can.
But this particular QQQ I'm looking at, it pretty much turned up as far as the moving averages in October here. And so you've gotten a pretty good trend there that has not been violated. Just using like your 9 or 10 day moving average, the thing has been just rising.
Yeah.
And if you use like what's the other one up there? Do you have a 20 or something, or?
Yeah, 9. The blue one is 9. The amber one there's 20, and then the pink one down at the bottom there's 50. So
yeah. So if you use the amber one, could you still get a decent premium, or do you really have to, if you're doing short term, you pretty much have to tug with the 9 day?
Yeah, if you're shorter term, the 9 for sure. But out around the 45 day point, you can use the 20 as well.
Yeah, and there's plenty of real estate between that and where we are now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. With regards to the Bollinger, how effective do you think, like Michael Filigera was on yesterday, and he had projections of 4660 as far as his Fibonacci's and 4724.
Interesting. Yeah, so pretty close.
I'm wondering, do you have any Fibonacci?
No, I don't have Fibonacci stuff, but the Bollingers, they will expand and contract, of course, based on what's going on. They give you a pretty clear picture of where the extremes are and where you can expect a bounce if you hit the bottom on it, it would go back up or vice versa, So, but even here, if you look at this chart, there's plenty of room to move up from here. I mean, this thing is not overextended.
No,
via the Bollingers.
I mean, it's still got a third of the S&P to still announce their earnings, which is important. And then this week, you got central banks starting with the Fed, and then you got Bank of England and these other guys. So there's a lot of news coming out of central banks. And then you've got the jobs report Friday, where the employment participation rate is going to be stared at. And they're going to really want to see if anybody's coming back to work.
Yeah, isn't that amazing? Yeah, I mean, there's really like a labor shortage, which is
well, over the years, I don't know how you feel, but there were times where I always felt like if this thing keeps going, why would anybody work? In other words, in 2000 and started even in 1987, the thing was going nuts.
Right.
And if it kept going at that pace, you would just quit your job, put your money in the market and live off of it. Same thing in 2000, right?
Yeah.
And then in 2008, same story.
Yeah.
And so now it feels like the same environment in that it just seems like everybody is in on it. Everybody's in the market in some way, shape, or form. They're making all this money. It's hard to get people back to work. You have to increase their wages. The participation rate is showing that most people are not coming back to work. You know what I mean? There's no big jump there. And, and they're willing to pay high prices at the store.
Right.
And so I don't know what next year brings. It'll be very interesting because it's certainly planning on it being a huge year next year, and it's pointing in that direction.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, and it's really like you said, the everything bubble. People are feeling rich. Their houses have gone
yeah.
vertical in a lot of our areas.
And if we go up to 4,800 or something like that, I mean, it's even the fever is even going to be hotter than it is today, right?
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
but
and so-
anyway, is there, so your feeling is obviously it's in an uptrend and that
Yeah.
it has room to have another pop.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's
And then you
basically
throw in
what's,
the seasonality, the Halloween indicator was
yeah,
yesterday or the day before. So these are the,
yeah,
quote, the best 6 months of the year, particularly this fourth quarter,
yeah.
so
So,
unless the Fed fumbles it tomorrow somehow, this should keep going through the end of the year, I would think.
yeah. Well, like I say, they have no vested interest in scaring people
Mhm.
and they have no vested interest in higher interest rates. So, I think getting overly crazy on that,
Right.
because they know how high the prices are and they know how extended we are. And
Uh-huh.
so, they know how vulnerable if they came out. And this guy, Powell, I mean, he's the least hawkish of everybody.
Right. Right.
So to expect him to turn into a Jekyll and Hyde, I think is a bad bet, right?
Yeah, I think so. And then, of course, the big question is, will the market force it? Will inflation just get so hot that there's
Yeah.
no other way out? And then
Yeah.
nobody
Well,
knows the answer to
I
that.
don't think the Fed has ever led anything. I think the
No,
markets lead the Fed. So if this
exactly.
175 on the 10-year got taken out, then I think the Fed is probably going to start doing some hiking because the market will have hiked for them.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly what that would be the downside.
Yeah.
The other thing that's fascinating, I don't get this. I mean, his term expires in February. That's only 3 months, and
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
nobody's talking about reconfirmation. Or I haven't heard one thing about that.
No, but I mean, like I say, bringing a whole brand new guy in
Yeah, big mistake.
is a rough racket too, I think.
Oh, that
Especially,
is-
I mean, you're going to bring a new guy in with the stock market at this level, the debt at
Yeah.
this level, and the inflation at this level, and you're going to bring a
Yeah.
new guy in. Hey, take
And-
the ball now.
Yeah, I think that would be a gigantic mistake.
That would be a gigantic. Because this is the horses at midstream. It doesn't work on this one, I don't think.
No.
Hey,
All right. Well, you want to start hitting?
Hey,
Yeah, that's it.
the I don't know if you guys have ever looked at the futures market at predictit.org, but they are showing they're showing a 66% chance for Jerome Powell to be
Really?
confirmed as a
Wow.
next.
That's
Is that
interesting.
considered a high percentage or?
Um,
Doesn't sound high.
I mean, I
know.
don't think you. I
Yeah,
don't think you
I
probably
would-
ever get to 80 on that thing.
Interesting.
yeah,
Yeah.
I would normally think it would be higher than that. 27% for this next highest person. I'm not familiar with this person. Lael.
Oh yeah, she's one of the
right?
presidents now. Yeah, she's
Okay.
she's one of the regionals. I don't remember. If she's in
And 12% for Raphael Bostic.
don't know.
Yeah,
him.
he's
Yeah.
at Atlanta, right?
Yeah. Interesting.
Um,
Well, be a horse race.
Well, he's the
eh?
one who's predicting that GDP is going to go down to 0.2%. So let's hope he's not so right on that.
I'll post the link in the chat for what I was just looking at in case anyone
Sure.
wants to see it.
Sure,
Well,
interesting stuff. Yeah.
Nobody wants to be around when the bubble breaks. So it's.
Yeah. Well, let's start hitting these things
Yeah,
here.
yeah, let's do
We
it.
got Iron Mountain, IRM, and
Stick it in here.
let's see what that looks
There
like.
it is. Yeah, pretty bullish.
Probably
Started a
hard to
little-
find ones that's not bullish, huh?
Yeah, it started a little later than some of these others we were just talking about, but certainly the same exact scenario. You had the uptrend in the summer, then the little downturn through September, and here we are again. But now with the same exuberance, even of the S&P.
Is this, I guess the guy's probably wondering, is this breaking out? Because I got the 10 crossing over the
Mhm.
20, and I got the market above both the 10 and the 20, and I got an
Yeah,
RSI that's at 56 and pointing up. So he's probably wondering, is this thing going to take off or not? What do you think?
Yeah, well, if we look at the oscillators, they're both taking a bump up. The
Yeah.
MACD as well as the MI. Yeah, sure.
And it looks like you got a reasonable low that was made there at about 44 and a half. So
Yeah,
that tail that you got sticking down there, you'd
Yeah.
probably want it to stay above 44 and a half, wouldn't you?
Yeah. And then right here, if you can see my little cursor on over right here at this last resistance level off this red candle here. So yeah, it can be on its way. I don't know what Iron Mountain does.
I was trying
They're
to.
a storage company. They do
Oh.
storage for like art and
Uh-huh.
data and physical, you know,
Yeah, it's a good
stuff that
business.
needs high security, I guess, mostly.
Excellent. Excellent.
Yeah. And there's probably a lot of profit in that too. So, yeah, I mean, it was up to 50, you come back down.
Yep.
Didn't like the depth, and it looks like it's back on the bicycle, and
Yeah, this would look like a buy, certainly.
looks like a bargain.
Mhm.
LPLA, also known as LPL Holdings. These guys, I think, are clearing firms for independent registered investment advisors.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
on every shopping center, the LPL Financial, right?
So,
Interesting what happened here just in the last couple of days. They were doing great and then took this little dump. I don't know what that's about across the board.
and was there a gap there they're trying to fill?
Yeah. Yeah, so I wouldn't be so bullish on this one right now.
Yeah, out of all the financials that you could
Yeah.
pick, this would probably be one of the ones that would
Right.
but it did have a good day today, up 2%. So,
Right.
if you're looking at a really short-term graph, like a monthly or something, it definitely made a turn here today.
Mhm.
Would you say on a short-term basis, as long as it stays above 168, it looks like it could be decent?
Yes, that's what the monthly looks like. So yeah, so kind of tested down to the 155 and maybe this previous low back here and coming back up. But I would wait personally until this reset itself here, the bars and the 3 moving averages.
It had a pretty big gap down from 173 ballpark down to 170 even.
Mhm.
And now it's gone into the gap.
Mhm. Yep.
But
Yeah,
it's hard to keep any of these stocks down, you know what I mean? As long as they're chewing gum and walking, right?
All right.
But your feeling on it would be it's not the Cadillac of the sector.
No, I wouldn't be too interested in this one.
It's the jalopy of the sector.
Yeah.
All right, triple D. It sounds like trouble there. Triple D, DDD.
3D
Systems Corp. Yeah.
Sounds techy, right? Looks like it had a short squeeze just yesterday, maybe. And I don't know the history here, but you can see this looks like a most shorted. I'm just guessing the way it just sort of chops along and then takes a pop like that.
It really has been kind of sideways between 25 and 30 bucks. So I guess the guy's wondering, is this going to be a legitimate breakout or what? The RSI is picking up some steam, so that's not bad, right?
And it's got buys on everything here, but this looks like a Wall Street bet stock. I don't know.
Yeah, as I look at a longer term one, a 5-year, it really looks like it is breaking out. So according to this one, the 5-year graph, I just went to a longer one, 5-year. Yeah, if you go look at the 5-year, it looks like it's off to the races here, as long as it can stay above $29.
Yeah, it's done this before. You get these little.
Yeah,
this must be a most shorted. I think the way it does this, then it goes sideways and it takes off again.
Looks a little like a lie detector test where it goes up and back down, back up and down.
So those are great if you can catch those. The game stops and they.
But if you're looking for a trend, it's kind of a rough racket because that's why the moving averages are kind of meaningless when you get into a chop. You know what I mean?
Right. Exactly.
But at this point in time, it looks like the path of least resistance could be up. Huh?
Absolutely. Yeah. And of course, it goes up fast, down fast, right? That's the name of the game with those.
DAR, DAR.
Yeah, here we go. This is down a little bit. So there's some darling ingredients. Don't know, but yeah. So again, same kind of picture, sideways, and now, like everybody else here, around mid-October, it took off, and it's strong. Yeah.
So this thing had a rough day today, huh?
Yeah, down. Yeah. So
and
I would say, if it goes below this 9, it's going to be in deep trouble. If it bounces off the 9, it's got, room to move there. You can see how it was testing out the last couple of days here, but
Yeah.
I don't use it ascribe to the theory that when stock makes a new high like that, the 85.98, that it's destined to make another new high within a short time frame. I've read that a few places. I don't know if that's valid or not, but buy high and sell higher.
Right. All right. So that's about it on that one. Let's go to SE.
SE. I know I've done some SE stuff myself here.
C Limited.
Yeah.
I think this is a transport stock, isn't it?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, it is. It's I think I've done some options on this one. It was fine. You can see how it's going sideways. I was selling condors on that on top and bottom, and it had pretty good premiums. When you see that kind of green red, and the MACD, that's a real good iron condor candidate. And there's that sideways action and generally it's been, you see the blue little dots, it's generally been an uptrend all along.
Yeah.
So if you iron condor one of those, you want to kind of fade the upside a little bit, give it more room on the upside, and you can be a little more aggressive on the.
So if you were looking at something like this, would you kind of use parameters of something like 335 on the downside and 375 on the upside, and then set your condor outside of that window?
Yeah, exactly. Like like this whole set right here is a real good support level. Here's another good support level, and then of course you got the high. So if we have one pretty close to all-time highs, if you go up to this upper Bollinger Band, that's a real good, good spot to be, because it's likely not going to shoot through there. You can see in the past here how it comes up and then it comes back, comes up, comes back. So yeah, somewhere between the Bollinger, like right in here, this recent low 340-ish, 235, and then the upper Bollinger.
Okay, so basically that gives you a little bit of idea on that one.
Yeah, I've traded that one. I've traded that one relatively recently. Profit. It works out fine. It was comfortable.
This next one is NTLA, Thera. And it is down a little bit today. And like, again, a lot of these the people are asking about seem to be ones that are on the verge of maybe getting going sometimes. And this would be one of those, right?
Yeah, yeah, just making the turn. You can see it. It's just starting to turn up, I would say. That would be my view.
And I got an RSI that's hanging right around 49 though. So I think if this thing can bust 140, then I think you might be on your way, right?
Yep, absolutely. Yep. I'd say it's on. And then
would you be more patient, or you think you run the risk of this thing popping to 160 on some kind of news?
Well, yeah, it depends on your risk tolerance, of course. Everybody's a little different, but you're getting enough early vibes in here that you can start coming into this like with a partial position.
Yeah.
And then look for more.
Because you certainly would like to see it, stay above the 133 neighborhood, 131.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is a real solid base here. I think that'd be. This looks like a real solid floor.
Yeah. So if it can, you'd like to see the RSI getting above 50 if it's going to go on a sustained move,
Yep.
So that sometimes it's nice to get it right as it starts. So I think it's either probably on the beginning of, would you say it's probably at the beginning of something significant, or this is a level where if it fails from, it's telling you something more important?
Yeah, I think again, if you came in like with a partial position, it's definitely heading up. You got 180 as the highs, so you're $40 below that. That's a 30% move just back to the old highs,
Yeah.
And they weren't that long ago. That was just September 3rd, so a couple months.
Yeah, because even on the monthly though, it's not a totally resolved situation, is it?
No, I can do a weekly here real quick. Let's see.
Although the RSI on the monthly at least is above 50, so that gives it a little bit of a tip to the upside.
The weekly is pretty positive. So I would say what's going on now is as they say, transitory.
Yeah, everybody's saying transitory. The whole world's transitory. All things will pass. We just don't know when.
That's right.
Signature Bank sounds like it might be one of those, shall we say, smaller banks.
Yeah, I don't
I'm
know
not
them, but,
100% about them, though. They could be a big
no,
bank.
but they've been solid. I mean, going way back here, they're like all the banks, you know,
Yeah,
they're,
yeah. The
they're normal.
financials are one of the best places to
Right.
be. So,
Yeah.
and this thing looks like it wants to go too, huh?
Mhm. Yeah, it's a solidly bullish picture.
Yeah. And again, even a slight raise in interest rates helps their margins.
Right.
So we'll have to see what goes
Yeah,
on.
I
there.
think, you know, the banks just make money. You know,
Yeah.
you know, what a great deal. They lend money to people who don't need it, you know.
Or if you do need it, they charge you 24%
They
on your
charge
credit
you
card.
extra for it, right?
Yeah.
And
I mean, they said a ridiculously large percentage of business owners that need to borrow money
mhm.
use their credit card to finance it.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's pretty crazy. That's the whole reason. Well, that's not the whole reason. That's one of the reasons why the crypto is getting so popular as far
Mhm.
as something to do, because they're trying to eliminate the middleman, do more peer-to-peer business, and
Right.
bring the cost of all this stuff way down. Because there could be a
Exactly.
lot of people who would loan these people's money if they could get access to them. You know what I mean?
Mhm,
They
mhm.
don't have to use their credit card if you have a system where people could get access to capital. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
same
Well,
you know
that,
same thing when they exchange money. If you could find somebody who can change money where 19 people don't have to get their fingers in there, you know, it'd be a lot
Right.
easier. Right?
we should do a crypto show sometime because there's so much interest in it. It's like we've, you know, it's the new gold, you know, it's the millennial gold.
Mm-hmm.
And where that goes is going to be fascinating to watch, like you're saying, because that could,
Well, they're really talking 100,000 by the end of the year, and every
yeah,
time you wake up, it
yeah,
seems like it's up 5%. So you know we
yeah,
got what 7 weeks to go.
it might
You
make
know,
it.
and it's the kind of thing that you could wake up and it could be at 80,000 tomorrow morning. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
So you know, if there's
I
that
have
many
a,
people who believe in it, you know.
I have a friend who just is doing that. He's in his 30s, you know, so he can take that kind of risk. He just buys a little bit every month, kind of dollar cost average. He won't. I haven't asked him what his total nest egg there is, but I think he's doing real well. You know, he's been doing it for a number of years.
Yeah, the best times to have bought that I have been suggesting is when it gets hit really hard. Like in July, it got hit really hard. Whenever it gets hit really hard, you know, that's a great place to get on board.
Yeah.
When you start buying on extreme strength,
Mhm.
you sometimes get caught holding a short-term bag, and the bag costs a lot of money.
Yeah, it's a genius idea though. You got a finite asset there, you know, and
Yeah.
it's a brilliant idea.
Who let the dogs out?
Oh yeah, that's my son's dog. So we're in California visiting. He's a Navy fighter pilot, and so that's the grand dog. And so we've been. He's gone in and out all the time on various deployments and things. So we're taking care of the grand dog. Great dog.
I got you. Good
Yeah,
times.
she's a big yellow lab. Yeah, we call her the BYD, the big yellow dog.
I got you. Yeah. As opposed to Clifford, the big red dog.
Yeah,
Anybody who has kids has to know
yeah,
these kind of things,
yeah.
right?
That's right. Yeah, we got the big yellow dog, not the big red dog. So.
All right, let's go to
All right.
OLN, which is
Right.
Olin Corp. And it's another one that today didn't do much, but it has been going up pretty good lately.
Yeah, same thing, flatlining, and then took a big jump there. So it's looking solid across the board. There's nothing bearish about this. Just had earnings recently here. It looks like that little blue light there is earnings. So I don't know if it beat or whatever, but right there after the earnings happened, you can see it took off. So it must have done well.
It looks a little bit like there's a bit of a divergence on the RSI, or not enough to write home about.
I don't think so. But,
like on your oscillator there, the DMI, if you have a high point there and then you make a new high on price and it lags like that, is that a significant?
It can be, yeah. And the same with the MACD. You can see that, you know, bright green, dark green. It's looking a little bit shakier there, but
yeah,
but definitely
it's nitpicking, but nitpicking
can
turn into something. If this thing started to turn down, nitpicking could be actually a good call.
Yeah, it's definitely a good trajectory for now, that I'd say.
Well, General Electric, if you can figure out what the price is a good company. And whenever they do a split where the stock goes from 13 to 100 and some odd dollars, it's always hard for me to do the math, but they change the prices around here a bit, and it takes a little while to get used to, right?
Yeah, and I just had earnings, looks like there again, and So this is like the Pentagon, you're buying the Defense Department here, I think.
Yeah.
And
And aerospace and
right.
medical equipment and stuff like that, I guess.
Remember, he's starting to fade a little bit when Jack Welch was running this place. It was
Yeah. Well, they bought so many companies they didn't even know what they own.
Yeah, they had no idea what was going on.
Them and Tyco.
Yeah.
Anyway, this does have an RSI that's about 50, which is not bad, and it's got the 9, the 9 and the, or I have a 10 and a 20 that are inverted to the upside. That's not bad.
Yeah, it's all set up, and then these blue dots, the pink just turned to blue dots. That confirms the uptrend. So
Yeah,
I think it's uptrend. There's no doubt.
yeah.
Pretty
Looks
solid.
like that recent low of 105 ballpark would certainly be a decent line in the sand.
Yeah, the widows and orphan stock, right?
Yeah,
Dividend.
there's a little bit of a gap there between 104 and change and about 105 and change. So it'll be interesting to see if that gap is going to get filled. Here's the one that's interesting because for a valuation point of view, they tell me it's a real steal compared to all these other stocks that are getting involved with EV. And, they plan on coming out with a lot of models, I guess. And so people are really thinking this might really have quite a bit of a future.
Yeah, I think it's gone from the stodgy old line, and now
everything's a Henry Ford, big heavy guy with a 3 martini lunch in front of him or something.
Now it's like a growth stock. I mean, look at this chart. It's just been so back here it was 13, 15. Now it's 18. So it's $5. That's a 50% move. That's like a Netflix or a Tesla kind of.
Well, the beautiful thing also, it's been trending. Talk about a place to do your sell credit put spreads. I mean, this thing went positive at about $12.84 on the moving averages. And this thing has not violated the 20 moving average the entire time. So if you just use that as a parameter, you could have ridden this thing all the way up. Now it's pretty extended away from those numbers. So you could always maybe see a pullback under certain circumstances, but wouldn't this be the kind of thing that the credit put spreads would be tailor-made for?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Because right in here, you have a real solid, right around the 20 or like this last little low point right here, that $15. That'd be a perfect place just below that. That looks solid.
If you can find a trending anything, whether it be a stock or a football team that can just never win, I mean, at least if they're consistent, you know how to assess risk. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And I think you mentioned the EV. This is the world. I mean, down here in California, everybody is going that way, and this is a mandate. I think it's going to be I don't remember what year it is. Everything's got to be electric. And
well, there's no question. You wouldn't get Tesla up 50% in a month unless people were believing that this is just going to be the way we're going.
Yeah,
the thing that would be interesting, though, to be honest, that no one is talking about, and this could be where everyone gets caught holding the bag a bit. If we get a new administration in there, and these guys are not so gung-ho on EVs,
right?
And they change the tune of the country. They take that record off and they put a new record on. These markets are not prepared for that at all.
No,
and we have an election coming up in Virginia that if it goes Republican, it's supposed to be a precursor to what the elections could be in 2024 and then 2022 when we have the midterms. So wouldn't you say that would be, I would say an Achilles heel to this whole EV thing is if we changed over to a more red than blue, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that, whatever your view of climate change is, it's going to impact the global economy. There's just no question about it,
Yeah, but there's a large group of people who don't believe in it. And if that group starts becoming the prevailing power source, that would put in jeopardy a lot of these things. It's just always good to think about what could happen.
Absolutely.
Because if you don't things start happening and then you're not prepared for them,
Yeah, it's the old thing. Anything can and will happen, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I mean, we've seen it before when the internet was supposed to be this thing where everyone will always do and then we went through a period where, those internet bubble stocks, they went away. Now the internet kept going,
right?
right?
Right.
So you wonder out loud, okay, this EV may keep going, but it may go at a different pace.
Right.
It may have different players.
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
a
who's
lot of
gonna,
the,
who's
a
gonna be the
lot of
winner at
players
the
we're
end?
talking about today may not be the players that are in the end zone down the road, you know?
Exactly. Yeah, who's left at the end? Absolutely.
Well, next guy up is Netflix, which has been getting right back on the bicycle lately.
Yeah, I do Netflix quite often, and
The premiums are great, right?
yeah, premiums are great. You can do them as weeklies. You can even do them. You can day trade them on Friday expirations. It's one of the FANG group, of course, and I guess it's not the FANG group anymore. We got to rename that, right? Facebook isn't Facebook anymore.
No, it's meta world peace, right?
I guess it's Mang,
Metaverse, right?
the Mang group, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, Netflix is cool, and everybody, it's just one of those.
Well, this is another one that's been trending for the last year
Oh,
very
yeah.
nicely. I mean, it violated just by a little bit the 20-day all the way up from 519 to 677. So if you were going, 10% out of the money or something, you had a pretty decent ride all the way up.
And if you look at what these guys are doing, the Amazon Prime and Netflix, they're the new Hollywood. I mean, it's just, they're doing their own studios, their own movies, all that stuff. It's the new media, versus the old media. And I don't know, when was the last time you went to see a movie in a movie theater? It's been a long time,
Yeah, I think I went to see one, but not too many. Yeah, not too many.
Yeah,
Let's jump over to LILM.
all right. I don't know what this thing is. This is, well, obviously something just happened here, it's just flatlining. And so this got news or Wall Street bets or something, short squeeze. Yeah.
Oh, that was a SPAC, one of the
Yeah.
Yeah, these SPACs tend to go back to their price. Like it probably came out
one
at
of
9 or
the,
10 bucks.
Yeah, so when it starts moving there, I think is when the SPAC merger happened. And that this is one of Palantir's SPACs that they're investing in. It's the
Yeah.
And a lot of them probably have a great future, but it seems like they're all right back to where they came out at and are kind of like a little bit dead. Because maybe they're obviously waiting.
This is one of those extreme, like long-term speculative kind of. They're doing EV planes, like small.
Oh, no kidding.
Air taxi kind of things.
Well, that's a future market, I think. With
Yeah,
like Uber Air, right? And
yeah, stuff like that. Yeah, they're really cool. You should, if you want to look them up sometime. But
if we put up QS for a second, that's a SPAC that went nuts and went way down, and now it actually seems like it's going back up. This Jeremy Grantham thought they had very good research and they were a good company, but because they were so pre-revenue, this price to 130 was a joke. And now, though, we're getting closer to, I think, when the revenue will start coming out, and you can see from the price, it looks like it's getting going.
Absolutely, yeah.
This is a little bit of an interesting one.
Yeah,
if you want to go into the SPAC world.
Yeah, and this is obviously a speculative. It's a little bit of a roll of the dice, right? I mean, all of these are.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But this is a fairly respected company, that one.
Right.
DocuSign, that was a wild ride, right?
Always has been. I've traded some DocuSign. It's always a roller coaster. But
does look like it's trying to go back on the upswing, though, huh?
Oh yeah, definitely.
And what do you think? What do you think the support is on it?
Well, I think they just passed it here. These 270, 260 that we're past.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so if we stay above the 270, 275 area, it looks like clean sailing.
I think so. It's just this one. You got the averages just coming back up. So maybe this bottom tail here, 270, 65. Yeah, Docu. I like these guys. They're always an adventure, like you said. But good
Well, they're
options.
very, obviously in this day and age, rather than sending a notary republic or whatever all around
Right.
town or some signature guy,
Right.
this is really the way they're trying to do business.
Yeah,
And so,
No, it's the future. I mean, it's one of these,
yeah,
part of the future, no question
it's
about it.
biggest problem is they were trying to always figure out what is it actually worth, because the valuations got crazy here.
Yeah.
But Golden Entertainment, GDEN.
Well, if you go back, look back to April, it's had a good roll here. It was $6 and now it's 51. That's good, huh?
Sure.
Yeah. So, long-term money, if you can just close your eyes and hang on. That's
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, and like I say, this is another one that's building, as long as it stays above that 50-51 number, that would be good, but
Absolutely.
it's
Yeah,
not one of the. What about ICE?
Nice. A second here.
These exchanges, obviously, so like NASDAQ and CME, these guys, a lot of volume.
Yeah, and you can see something just happened here and earlier in the month right here.
Mm-hmm.
It's
And a lot
solid
of them are
here.
going to smaller contracts to get a bigger crowd in there.
These are
So,
smart guys, if you think about all these exchanges. I mean, they'll build. They say they will come. If you build it, they will come. They've always got a new product, something happening. The micro futures now, and these stack things, and a lot of money out there that wants to speculate. And so, I don't know what happened right there on October 6th, but it was significant.
I was going to ask if we could look at a couple of things that I heard about. Supposedly in the last 10 years, 9 out of 10 years, the small caps have had a very good November, as well as biotech. So if we threw up XBI up there, supposedly it's averaging, I guess, about 7% during the month of November, 9 out of the last 10 years. Is there anything going on here?
Yeah, it looks like it just got started there. Same, just the last couple of days, really. Yeah. Good. You can see these went green, the pink dots went to blue. So yeah, it's headed that
And
way.
they certainly are way off of their highs.
Oh yeah.
They're like, in other words, everything seems to be on their all-time high.
Yeah.
So it's always nice to pepper all that in with, is there anything that's going to play a mean game of catch up possibly?
Yeah, it's 30% off its all-time highs. So
yeah. So,
plenty
and
of
again,
room there.
this research person was saying that on a 10-year basis, 9 out of the last 10 years, it's had a very good November. So I thought that'd be interesting to look at.
Yeah.
And the chart looks like something could be brewing in the kitchen there.
Yeah, if you look back, this is, I think, November right here at the beginning of this chart. Same thing. It had a good end of the year there into first of the year.
And then the other one, the Russell, also has a very good small cap IWM.
Yeah.
And that started to break out as well above 230. So,
Yeah, last week it had some amazing volatility. I mean,
it was fighting.
Yeah, you can see it there. It was.
The Bulls won the fight.
Yeah, they won. The Bulls won.
But, they said about 18% of this index is healthcare. So if we went to XLV, is that another place to go? Because that is also well off its high.
Yeah, not as good as that previous one, but this is heading up. I mean, absolutely. And select, Spider Select. These are always good. And I think, again, you got to know, there's Pfizer and J&J's in here. All those guys are in there.
Well, this is for somebody who wants diversified risk rather than playing pin the tail on the donkey.
Yeah. If you want a real exciting ride, is in the biofield is Noravax. I did some trades on that.
Yeah, a lot of people believe in this company very much.
Man, that thing will stop your heart. It has some wild moves.
Yeah.
I mean, look at this. This doesn't look, but this went from 240 to 110 and just no time at all, 50% drop.
The transports are also getting going. IYT, do you just use the iShares?
Mhm. Yeah. And it's an exciting time. The fourth quarter always is. I mean, this is like.
But here's the question for you.
Hmm.
If you put up FDX, which is FedEx, that seems to be a horse that just cannot catch up with the crowd, or is it a value down here and will catch up with the crowd? Because this thing is way off its high.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? I don't know why. Usually.
And
you
we're going
expect
into
it.
delivery season,
Yeah,
aren't we?
this would be big. I think what hurt them, kind of on the macro level, was when Amazon started their own airline. The Prime airline. You see those planes around.
I gotcha.
That goes back now more than some time back.
Yeah, because UPS, I
Yeah.
think they're in bed with Amazon.
Yeah.
And
I think
if you look at
FedEx,
the UPS graph, you would think UPS and FedEx would be like the same, but they are
Yeah.
totally not the same.
And I think FedEx got a little bit left out in the cold there when Amazon pulled that business and UPS, FedEx is always more the retail onesie twosie kind of guy, and UPS and this new Amazon thing, they're catering to the corporate type. So yeah, you look at the UPS chart, totally different picture.
Yeah. Because I talk to the UPS people because they're in the community delivering stuff, and they say they do a lot of business with Amazon.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So this is up 100% damn near since January.
Yeah.
It was 113 to 220.
You want to put the stock of the day, Ava's budget up there, CAR, so people can see what a speculative frenzy looks like?
Yeah, so give us a little background on that, because this is interesting. It's, what's going on here. Look at that. So kind of fill in the story here, if you would, probably.
Well, to be honest, the story, I think, I don't know exactly what the story is.
Quite a story, though. 175 to 545 in one day.
Yeah. Yeah, it says shares of Avis double in a single day as huge earnings beat sends the hedge fund shorts. Oh, I gotcha. So they beat on earnings, and Tom, Dick, and Harry was all short because they don't think anyone's going to be out there renting a car.
Right.
And so these guys got these guys going because, that's they must have saw the order. It must have had a very big short interest.
Yeah, look at that. Was it Hertz who was bankrupt? One of these was.
Oh yeah, they were all
bankrupt, right?
believe me, I was working with this thing when it was in single digits during that crash.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm very familiar with this, same as I was with Marriott and Hilton and all the rest of them that nobody wanted, and Carnival Cruise, and no one will ever go on a cruise again, that kind of stuff.
Right.
And never one will ever use the Marriott or the Hilton again. But yeah, just to get an idea what the short interest was, because that might tell us something. I'm trying to get that up here. But yeah, that's what happened. They announced earnings, and oh yeah, you know what the short interest was? I don't know if this is current, but it was 20% of the stock.
Yeah.
So you get a 20%. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. Well, what a nice squeeze for the guys who were long, though. But yeah, you have to be nimble because it's now at still up 100% for the day, but it's a long way from 550, huh?
It is. Let me, if we just give me 1 second here. I've got this, there's this website that tracks the Wall Street bets.
Right.
Let's see if I can find it here.
Well, if they can put AMC and GameStop into the ring, why not throw a rent-a-car in there now?
So this is real-time top stickers at Wall Street bets, So Tesla, GME, there's Cara, of course, number 3. AMC, the usual suspects, and
a couple of other things that people might want to see is like the semiconductors. They're on fire a little bit here. You want to put up some AMD, you want to put some TSM up there and see what it looks like?
Yeah, sure.
Taiwan Semi. Of course, Taiwan Semi, you wonder when the saber rattling will turn into any kind of aggression out of China.
Yeah, and the same with BABA. I just had a position in BABA. We just closed it because earnings are this week, so it just seemed a little risky. It went fine. We did fine, but you see, it took a big downtrend there, and then all of a sudden it got hot because Charlie Munger likes it, Warren's buddy, and then it was big on the Wall Street bet. So, and this from here, down here at 138 to 162 just in a few days.
Right.
But with the earnings coming up, I just thought I'd exit that one. So.
Well, it's in fact, some people are looking at different ways of trying to participate in emerging markets without having to get involved in China. And there are a couple of ETFs out there where you go emerging market ex China. And I saw a couple of them have been pretty good. Because once you take the Chinese thing out of there, the other emerging markets, the PMIs worldwide are rising, except in China. So business activity, and they were saying, Vietnam is doing very well. Korea's exports were up very nicely. So, it's not China and everybody. It's pretty much China because they're very draconian when they close down on this COVID stuff.
Oh yeah,
they've got the rolling blackouts because their energy is all goofed up.
Yeah, they have some real things going on there, and then of course the COVID, and then this Evergrande,
and they got real estate problems. So there's a lot of issues over there. There's no doubt about it. So
I was not sleeping well at BABA, so I left it. That's always my best indicator of all is your sleep at night indicator.
Right. Well, before we run out of time, why don't we spend a few minutes on you going through some of your sample strategies and sample ideas, and again, when people hook up with you, some of the stuff that you deliver.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Jim. So we've been day trading the 1 day SPX, Monday, Wednesday, Friday expiration. It works out great. We either do vertical credit spread, either put or call, or even a condor. And it's just been very consistent. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, really been happy with that one. And then we also do, we'll enter usually on something on Tuesday through Friday. Again, there'll be one of the fangs, and it's not easy, but you can, take a look at which direction they're moving and just go behind that. A bullish put is better in my view than buying a call option. And then the 1 day expirations, you get into Friday with some of these, you can usually pick up on a shorter term chart what's going to happen in that 1 day, and then the thing about when you're selling options, the trend is your friend, but it's backwards. You go opposite. You want to go where the trend isn't. So if it's going up, you sell the put. If it's going down, you sell the bearish call. And so that we're doing. Then we've had a very good success with the Qs for a directional trade. We talked about that. We entered that thing right about here when it started moving at 367, and just been doing fine. And when you do a debit spread, the key there is, of course, you're really cutting your risk because you're putting just less margin on the table, And then we'll always buy an in the money or at the money. Have some intrinsic value. What most people feel when they buy options, they'll buy something far out of the money because it's cheap. But cheap doesn't mean good. You're just buying a lotto ticket. So we just do the opposite of that. My view always is, if you read all these numbers, 75, 80, 85, 90, 95% of traders lose money. So the best place to start is just do the opposite of what they do. And so that's what we do. So the Qs, we just hit actually yesterday or today, our short on the debit spread. So we're gonna just roll that whole thing up because it does limit your profit, but you just roll it up and you just keep going. This thing is gonna keep going. I mean, in my view, that would be my estimation on the tech sector in general. And of course, they're well represented in the Qs.
Yeah.
And if we look over here on this little chart, you can see what happened there. You got, these are percentages, plus 13, plus 13.
Yeah.
And so the tech has been driving this market for a long time. And here's DOCU is up 1.4 a day. Of course, something to be careful about with Google. And Google, if you're going to do that, use the Google with the L. That's the one you want to be in as an options trader.
Sure.
Microsoft, Apple, I mean, they're the standard names, right? And We already talked about IDOM. So that is, I'd say, from here to the end of the year, unless the Fed fumbles here, it's going to be a good run.
Yeah, no, it looks like it should be.
Yep.
All right. Well, again, Option Professor, we do have the weekly newsletter, and we cover everything from the stocks to the bonds, interest rates, and the commodities, a lot to cover. And we also give you good insight into where we think the markets are going, not only in a short term, but a long-term basis. So go over to optionprofessor.com, get on the email list. It's free of charge, and it'll go out to you this week. John, great to talk to you here. Before we sign off, again, one more time where people can get a hold of you. And again, if you have any special offers, this is a good time to give them.
Well, I appreciate how David put it in the chat box there. We have that free ebook that really summarizes this whole philosophy and this whole strategy. So take a look at that. That gets you on our list. And we have a YouTube channel that's growing. And we do sales, intro sales, all kinds of things. Because, the business, of course, you want to make money in a business, but my primary objective here is to help people retire, because there's no fun waking up at 3 a.m. and wondering if you're going to run out of time or money first,
Yeah.
And
no-
so
no doubt about it.
it's a meaningful cause to be a part of, just as you are.
Sure. Absolutely. All right. Well, thanks a lot for being here, John. We'll hook up again soon. And again, good luck and good trading to everybody out there. I'm going to turn it back over to David. Thanks a lot for being here.
Thanks, Jim. Talk soon, then.
All right, thanks, guys. Yeah, just a reminder, be sure to subscribe to Timing Research on YouTube and your favorite podcast app. And you can also just go to TimingResearch.com to get access to the archive of this show as soon as I can get it posted, as well as any of the past shows. So I just want to thank my guests again for today, John Nyaradi of TradingGods.net and the Option Professor of OptionProfessor.com. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, David. Jim, thank you. Thanks, everybody, for coming. Bye-bye.